Let me see. That's the answer I have. Square plate. What is the formula for moment of inertia? IC for square plate. I think it is ms square by 6. The parallel axis theorem will have to be used here. md square. Okay, there is a private message about the axis suspended through a corner. Suspended through a corner should mean it should be moving like this. If it is moving like this, then axis should be like this, into the screen, coming towards the reader. Just like this problem, like that. It is oscillating in the plane of the screen. It is oscillating in the plane of the screen. This fellow is also oscillating in the plane of the screen, not behind the screen or coming towards the screen, but in the plane of the screen. And for that, this should be the axis. md square. D is L and L is a by root 2. m is square by 2. So how much is that? Multiplying by 3, dividing by 3. 4 by 6 is 2 by 3. See if you are getting the same result for I. Okay. Any questions up to this point? If you have, let me know. Then MGL, and L is a by root 2. Can you simplify this and see if you are getting the answer? Fine. Any questions? Let me know or we move on. This one is your assignment question. We are moving on to the next one. This one will be your assignment question. Now let's take an interesting case. Is simple pendulum really simple, or is it physical pendulum? Strictly speaking, it should be a physical pendulum. Because bob has to have some size. I mean, it can't be a particle, atom size particle. So how about moment of inertia consideration? And what about the threads? In this particular problem, I think we will have to ignore the mass of the threads and focus on this fellow. We certainly can handle that type of situation where this is like having some mass and one more mass here. But in this particular question, looking at the information given, I think we just focus on the mass of this thing. And we treat it as a physical pendulum. So if we treat this as light, no mass due to it, only this fellow, so the center of mass will be right here. That point will be C for us. That point is O. If this fellow is also massive, then C will not be here. Then maybe C could be here or here, it depends how heavy this thing is. Now what would be I? What will be IC? That's perfect. Conceptually, I think we are done. Can you put the values and do the calculations? Let me see. .89 is the answer I have. If you recall the derivation that we did for simple pendulum, what I did we take when we discussed simple pendulum derivation? What I did we take? Yes. Any questions? Let me know. Now suppose you are given a problem like this. This is a rod, solid rod, and this is a solid ball. How would you handle this problem? And the answer is this is a physical pendulum. All data that you need, suppose you are given that data, radius, masses, length, etc. Radius, length, radius, all information is given to you. How will you do it conceptually? You will say it's a physical pendulum. So T should be this. Now here M is the total mass. Let's say this fellow has mass M1, that fellow has mass M2. You need to know center of mass of this body, that we call as C. So you know this body can be replaced by a point. We are talking about uniform body. C for that body only is there, which is say C1. C for this body is here, which say is C2. These are now points instead of big body C1 and C2. So using the center of mass formula, you can easily find C for these two particles. Say it comes out to be maybe here. It can come little up also, little down also, no problem. Say C comes out to be here, which you can easily find from center of mass formula M1x1 plus M2x2 upon M1 plus M2. So you know C, that means you know OC. One problem is solved. There are two problems, I and L. One is solved. Second problem is I. So what is moment of inertia of this system about O? Well, moment of inertia simply adds for different bodies. For this ball, you would use parallel axis theorem about O. So you would say 2 by 5 m r square plus m. How much distance square will you say? O C2. O C2 square, right? Done. This moment of inertia should be added to that moment of inertia to get the total moment of inertia. And for this, it would be how much? That would be for a rod. What is it about C1? Is it ml square by 12? This should be m2. ml square by 12. Yes, I can see that private message. I will just answer that. ml square by 12 plus m1 O C1 square. Now, you have found it to be 1 by, you have simplified it. So you have taken, I think, OC1 you would have taken as L1 by 2. L1 by 2. So L, or just L by 2. So L by 2 square, L square by 4. Yes, it will be 1 by 3. OC1 is L by 2. Now, coming to that question. Are not we finding moment of inertia about C is the question, I think, about C. Let's go back to the derivation. We found torque, mg times OL it was, and OL was OC sin theta. Then we took sin theta as theta. So while discussing torque, OC was coming. C was important because of torque, and that was L. L came from this. As far as I is concerned in this derivation, where is the mention of C? While doing problems of this type, I was not about C, I was about O. I is about the axis of rotation. We used IC to find IO. But in this formula, I was not about C. So maybe in this formula itself you can write that I is about O. So only in some questions we have used IC. Perhaps in most questions we have used IC to find IO, so that we could apply some theorem like parallel axis theorem, which is valid for IC plus something. Any other question, let me know. Okay, there is a private message. Can we write IO equal to M1 plus M2 OC square? Can we write IO equal to M1 plus M2 OC square? Oh, that's dangerous. That concept of replacing a body by a particle is good for center of mass purpose. So this body is replaced by C1, this body is replaced by C2 particle, and then you use these two particles to find C. That's good for center of mass purpose. Moment of inertia has non-linearity in it. It is m/r distance square. When there is a non-linearity, then summation doesn't work like that. Don't do it. Not recommended at all. So when you have to deal with such situation, add individual i's. Add individual i's. I for the top body, I for the bottom body. If there are 10 bodies, for individually add them. Moment of inertia is a non-linear thing. Center of mass is a linear thing. There is no square term in center of mass formula. Yes, anything else? Alright, I have already given you the assignment. We stop now.